Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jessica, and I'm pleased to be your host for today's session called Ryerson Student Affairs and How We Support You. This is part of Ryerson's virtual open house, which is taking place this week, November 9th to 13th, as well as next week, November 16th to 20th. Ryerson has shifted to an essential services model to help prevent the spread of COVID-19, which is why we are here on your screens with you and not with you in person. We've put together a series of virtual sessions in order to share information and connect with you on a virtual level. We are working diligently to provide students with fulsome experiences while maintaining the health and safety of our community. So we're really excited to be welcoming you here today. There are many sessions taking place across these 2 weeks, so we do encourage you to visit our website and register for any other sessions that may interest you. Now, before we begin, I'd like to go over a few Zoom housekeeping tips. We encourage you to ask questions. We have many faculty and staff members who are here to answer your questions throughout the session. To do so, please scroll over the bottom of your Zoom window where you will find a Q&A pod. Here is where you can ask us questions throughout the session. Keep in mind that some students may have the same questions as you, so keep your eye on that Q&A pod, and you may actually already see your question be answered throughout the session. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to add those into the Q&A box as well. If you're having any audio or visual issues, please feel free to also flag this in the Q&A pod, and we will do our best to help you troubleshoot to make sure that you are getting the best experience as possible. You might also rearrange your screen in any way that works best for you. Anything that you do to your screen will not affect ours. So if you want to make things bigger or smaller, you can go ahead and do so. This presentation is also going to be closed captioned to ensure accessibility. If you require closed captioning, please select that option at the bottom of your Zoom screen. At the beginning of this session, we were troubleshooting some errors on our end behind the scene, but there should be something at the bottom of your screen now. If there isn't, please feel free to let us know in the Q&A pod, and we will do our best to fix this as soon as possible. Also note that the recordings of these sessions will be available on our website a little bit later on. So if you happen to miss a session, or maybe you want to review this session, you can feel free to do so in the coming weeks. Keep in mind that the Q&A pod will not be part of the recording. So if you happen to get a really great answer or maybe a website, feel free to take a screenshot or mark it down somewhere, so then that way you can refer back to it later on. Now on the next slide here, you will see the land acknowledgement. So to begin this session, even though we are not physically on Ryerson's campus, we still feel that it is very important to acknowledge the land in which our university exists. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Now, as much as this session is about everything Ryerson and for you to learn a little bit more about our university, we'd also like to get to know a little bit more about you. So I'm going to be launching our first poll here to see what kind of students, parents, guardians, or other people are joining us here today. So I encourage you to vote in for us so that we can know who is joining us today. I'll leave this up for about 10 more seconds and let more people kind of join in. Awesome. So it looks like we have a lot of students who are thinking about applying for fall 2021. So we're really excited to be having you here today. And we have a couple of people who are parents and guardians as well. So welcome to everyone. Now, without any further ado, I would like to begin this session. Throughout the session, you will see me pop back on screen when we switch through a few things. We have a lot of different stuff that's available for you and that we're really excited to be talking about. So first up, we have our international student support, who will be joining us is Paige. So feel free to take away.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jessica. So I'm Paige. I'm a student support assistant and one of the social media coordinators for Ryerson's International Student Support. And I'm here today to just tell you a little bit more about what we do in our office and how our office can support you in navigating your journey to Ryerson and through Ryerson. So we have many programs and support for international students. Our cultural support comes in the form of peer socials and cultural connections, which are activities that promote acceptance and appreciation of different cultures and skills for people from different cultural backgrounds. There's also modules on our website as we've changed into a virtual setting that go along with the cultural connections. We have social support. So we have things called Let's Talks and again, peer socials, which are now have been moved online for students to talk to one another, get to learn more about how to manage money, how to talk to professors, how to navigate through everything that's online now through Student Life and Learning Support. We also do WUSC, which stands for World University Service of Canada, which raises awareness of global issues and international development. We also run a student refugee program through this, which is a sponsorship of a student with a refugee background to live in Canada and study at Ryerson. We also do graduate support, which creates a community and opportunity for international master's and PhD students to connect with each other. It also facilitates intercultural learning and connections for graduate students to academic and career-related resources. We also do newcomer and family support, which provides settlement support for students who are new to Canada, but not international students. So this can be people who are permanent residents or recently returned Canadians. This connects international students with their spouses and or children to resources that will allow for a smoother and more positive transition to Canada for all of the family members. Next slide, please. So we also have started a new program, which is retention programming. We know that when you transition from secondary to post-secondary, it can be really difficult, whether you're an international student or not. The retention programming is here to support you if any of your academics start to slip or get to a point that's not enough for your program or for yourself personally. So we can support you on the side of academic, English language support, financial support, mental health support, and social support. We would support you through meetings and workshops to get your academic standing back up to where you want it to be. We also do financial support, so we can walk you through applying for bursaries once you've been accepted to Ryerson. We can also connect you with the correct financial support for you. I'll be talking about immigration support and UHIP on the next slide. So we do immigration support at the ISS office. We do one-on-one advising appointments. These are all virtual now, where you'll have a chance to set up a meeting with one of our advisors to speak about just about anything that you have, any kind of immigration questions, any kind of school-related questions. We have advisors who are specific to each faculty. We've also restarted our drop-in advising, which are done over Zoom, where you can drop in for a quick question that you have about something that'll take about 5 minutes for you to ask. It's a super quick way for you just to connect with an advisor and get your answer really quickly. We also have online immigration sessions, which covers topics from your study permit to your temporary resident visa, co-op work permit, post-graduation work permit, and permanent residence. So you can get all the information you need for any of these topics and for staying in Canada. We also provide status letters, which are letters of support for immigration applications, which applies to any of the things I just mentioned, like study permits and post-graduation work permits, as well as proof of status at Ryerson if you need that kind of thing to prove to banks or other places that you are an international student at Ryerson. Next slide. So the UHIP is the University Health Insurance Plan. All international students are automatically registered for the mandatory UHIP plan. Health insurance in Canada can be very expensive, but this insurance can help cover the cost of medical services at clinics and at hospitals, both on and off of campus. I will say this is not a Ryerson health insurance plan. It's used by almost all universities in Ontario. All eligible international students would be covered from September 1st to August 31st of the following academic year. Health insurance cards are available at request through email now, which is what we used to do it through the office, but now we do it online. I also encourage, if you are a student, an international student coming to Canada, that you request your UHIP card as soon as possible, because things happen, COVID happens, emergencies happen, and if you have your UHIP card, that is the best way to make sure that you are prepared for any situation. And that is all from me.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Paige. I do know that we have a few international students who have joined us today. So if you happen to have any questions about some of the things that Paige just mentioned, please feel free to throw them into the Q&A pod. We'll have an opportunity to answer them behind the scenes, but also maybe even answer them online or live if we have some time at the end too. So feel free to pop those in anytime. I'd like to now turn things over to our Learning Support Office. Feel free to jump in.
Hi, nice to meet everyone. My name is Mira Govindasamy. I'm the writing support facilitator. So I primarily work at writing and language support, but I'm going to talk a little bit today about all our areas of learning support. So in general, learning support is Ryerson University's centralized area of academic help. So we offer now a very broad range of virtual programming for all our Ryerson students. In general, our approach is to empower students to navigate their own academic experiences. So we encourage students to become independent learners and hopefully equip them with the skills that they'll need to succeed in their classes. And so they become, they're developing skills on their own rather than feeling dependent on our services. And we do this through knowledge sharing, role modeling, and informed guidance. And all our programming is developed by a qualified professional staff who've either been professionally trained or else mentored student staff. So that includes undergraduate students, master's level students, and doctoral students. And I do want to share a quick poll, if I can figure out how to do it, just to see what folks are interested in. Okay, so I'm going to launch the poll now. And so you can let me know what learning support skill you're most hoping to develop in university. Is that math? Is it writing? Is it study skills? Okay, so I see everyone is spread out. There's a huge focus on study skills I can see. And so we'll definitely be speaking about that. And also some interest in writing and math as well. Well, I'll be touching on all of that. Okay. Okay, so thanks for participating in that. That gives me an idea of what everyone is interested in. So how do we support students? We offer a number of one-on-one as well as group learning environments where students will receive academic skill building help from a high-touch student development perspective. So from this approach, our services involve listening to students. We ask probing questions, engage students in conversation about their work, writing, math, study skills, and we respond to students with empathy and care. We have programs designed to support incoming first-year students from academic transition events to group sessions focused on building numeracy, literacy, English language, and study skills. For students using English as an additional language, we offer a variety of one-on-one as well as group programs for students looking to develop their English writing, reading, listening, speaking, and oral presentation skills. And each semester, we actually run a free 8-week English language course. It's a non-credit course to build confidence, fluency, and appropriateness and accurate use of spoken English. We offer math and computer science tutoring. So in this area of learning support, students can meet with a math facilitator for a one-on-one appointment. We also offer group tutoring and midterm reviews for many of our first-year engineering and business math courses. In the summer, we offer a Math Ready program to Ted Rogers School of Management students, Faculty of Arts, and Faculty of Engineering students. And most of the tutors are PhD students or have PhDs and are also professors at Ryerson, Humber College, McMaster, Sheridan College. And we cover engineering math, pure math, business mathematics, and probability statistics. So you will be in good hands in those programs. Our writing programs are designed to help students become better writers, and our approach is to engage students in meaningful conversation about their writing. So we offer a variety, again, of one-on-one appointments that students can book, as well as a number of weekly writing events, so workshops, as well as larger specialized events that I'll touch on in a minute. And finally, under study skills and transition support, one of the really interesting things that we offer is peer academic coaching. So in this option, students can book an appointment with a trained peer academic coach. So that will be an undergraduate peer who's been specifically trained to support students in developing a personalized study plan, work on time management skills, which is especially useful in an online context where new skills might need to be learned, work on effective note-taking, test and exam prep, and reading strategies. We also offer a variety of specifically specialized programs. So that might include events like LNAP, the Long Night Against Procrastination, Graduate Research and Writing Institute, which is a graduate level event, and our Foundations of Academic Writing and Grammar crash course, which is a specialized day-long crash course for incoming first-year students primarily. And I'll cover some more of those first-year programs now. We can go to the next slide. So a couple of specific programs that we have just for first-year students. One is Summer Jumpstart. So this is our academic summer transition program designed for incoming first-year students to support their transition to now our virtual campus, to support them in finding community and building university-level academic skills. This program is offered in August, and I recommend checking our website for updates because the dates for this program specifically will be updated in May. Academic Edge is a program, again, that's open to all incoming first-year students at the start of the fall and winter semesters. And this program is aimed at providing students with practical learning strategies and the opportunity to basically discuss and debrief how their study skills are faring and how they're managing the pace and demands of university. And this program runs as 5 one-hour sessions that are happening throughout the semester, and the topics of each session will be geared towards the specific demands throughout the university semester. So a couple of the weekly themes include making time management work for you, from note-taking to note-making, making the most of your reading week, studying and effective test taking, planning and setting academic goals. For first-year students, we also offer something called supported learning groups. So these are for students who are enrolled in some of the most common and challenging undergraduate first-year courses offered in science and engineering, SSH 105 courses, and students can attend essentially a weekly drop-in discussion-based course-specific session in order to build mastery of the course content. And these sessions are led by upper year students who've achieved at least a B+ in the same course. Again, in terms of math support, we offer group tutoring for first-year math courses at TRSM, exam review for QMS 110 and all first-year engineering math programs. So that includes Math 140, which is the first part of calculus, Math 141, which is linear algebra, Math 240, which is the second part of calculus. And we can go to the next slide. So again, I mentioned the peer academic coaching program. So just again, this is an opportunity to book an appointment with a peer academic coach. You can develop a personalized study plan, discuss strategies for online learning, work on time management, effective note and test taking, exam prep, reading strategies, and a lot more. And we can go to the next one. In terms of math and computer science tutoring, again, the takeaway is that we offer math support in a very wide variety of areas, so including statistics, pure math, engineering math, financial math, and computer science. So writing and language support. This is an opportunity for students to really work on their academic writing skills as well as their English language skills. And so this happens through a variety of individual appointments, as well as the English language non-credit course that I mentioned previously. We also have a variety of weekly writing groups and English language conversation groups, and I will show you those on the next slide. So a couple of the weekly group sessions that we offer, 25 writing strategies is one of those. So this is mainly geared towards the experiences of first-year students. And over the course of 5 sessions, students will be taught in a very casual environment, 5 different strategies for effective writing and time management. So for example, you might learn the Pomodoro method one week, or just have a discussion about writer's block another week. The social justice writing group is an opportunity for discussions about how writing intersects with social justice issues. And then the second half of the group is spent setting goals and having silent supported writing time. Similarly, Shut Up and Write is exactly what it sounds like. It's a great chance to have silent writing time with a supportive community, and a writing consultant will be available if students have questions throughout that session. The English conversation groups are an opportunity for students using English as an additional language to connect with others and practice their English speaking and listening skills in a low stakes conversational setting. like I mentioned, the English communication support class is another opportunity to meet on a weekly basis and practice English language skills. Coffee and Writing is a weekly writing group for graduate students, although now it's a bring your own coffee situation. So other supports that we offer to graduate students fall under the umbrella of graduate student support. So these programs focus on developing academic skills that are specific to graduate level education. So we have individual appointments with graduate student support writing consultants, but these consultants are trained to support you with all the challenges that come along with graduate level writing. So it could include grant application writing, writing your thesis and dissertation, and conversations about time management and having a healthy working relationship with your writing when you're working on a much larger project. And we also have a variety of graduate level writing groups and events, including the Graduate Research and Writing Institute, which is 2 half days happening virtually in a couple of weeks, where students will be introduced to academic research and writing standards in a Canadian context. So that is specifically of interest to international students, perhaps. A panel discussion about working with your committee members and supervisors and all that comes along with that. And we have events like the Graduate Write-a-thon that happens annually in the spring. A couple of the workshops that we offer at Learning Support, and usually these are offered on kind of a weekly basis. Topics include getting started on your academic paper, which is a great introduction to essay writing, writing a literature review, if that's something you're being asked to do in your classes, and an introduction to test and exam prep, and lots more. And we can go to the next slide. And finally, I wanted to flag for students our RU Tutor Match program. So this is for students looking for help specifically with the content of your courses rather than maybe the study skills or writing skills surrounding that course content. And so essentially Ryerson has a database of trained peer tutors, and you can have the opportunity to be matched with a tutor who received at least a B+ in the same course that you're taking, and you'll have the opportunity to hire that person for some additional help, while all the other services that we offer are free at Learning Support. And that's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mira. That's a lot of really great information, especially for some students who are a little bit nervous about coming into university. It's good to see all the supports that we offer. Speaking of some other supports, let's turn things over to the Try Mentoring program. Feel free to take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is Rimsha, and my pronouns are she and her. I am the Career Mentoring Assistant at Ryerson's Try Mentoring program. So today I will be talking to you a bit about our mission statement, as well as the programs that we offer for Ryerson students. Next slide, please. All right, so before we begin, I just wanted to let you know that we are currently celebrating 20 years of mentoring. And despite the challenges that we have all faced during COVID-19, we are very happy to celebrate this huge accomplishment with all of you. Next slide. All right, so what have we been doing for the last 20 years? Well, our mission statement is to mentor the whole student to find their sense of belonging on campus using their individual experience. So this mission focuses on recognizing that each individual and student experiences things differently. Each one holds different personal characteristics, values, beliefs, support systems, and coping mechanisms. And therefore, it is our responsibility to tailor our support to each student so that they feel a sense of belonging at Ryerson. Next slide, please. All right, so here at TMP, we offer 3 main programs. We have the peer-to-peer mentoring program, the group mentoring program, and the career mentoring program. Next slide, please. All right, so to begin with, our peer-to-peer mentoring program, we provide students with a one-on-one match with an upper year student in their same program of study. So students in this program can also get support from faculty lead mentors, which are basically student staff at Ryerson that act as a mentor and supervise the mentoring relationship. Students also have the opportunity to attend one-on-one appointments with the mentoring facilitators at TMP to discuss personal and professional development opportunities. We also organize events and sessions where you can meet other students and participate in meaningful sessions. We also provide students with access to an online community through the TMP community portal, where students are able to get support from other mentees and mentors through our discussion board and messaging tool. And lastly, the portal also provides access to resources, including awards that TMP provides for first-generation students, which are basically students that are the first in their family to attend a post-secondary institution. We also provide awards for equity-seeking students and mature students. Next slide, please. All right, so the second program that we offer at TMP is our group mentoring program. In this program, we provide students with several equity-seeking groups at Ryerson, which include Muslim women groups, 2 SLGBTQ+ groups, Philippine X groups, Indigenous students group, Black students group, mature students group, students with disabilities, women in STEM, Latinx, and Lusophone student groups. So similar to the previous programs, in this program, students also get support from group mentoring leads, which once again are student staff. Students also have the opportunity to attend one-on-one appointments with mentoring facilitators. We also organize sessions where students can meet other students who identify from the same equity-seeking group as them and engage in relevant topics that impact their group in particular. In this group, students also have access to the online community portal where students are able to get support from each other through our discussion board and messaging tool, and also have access to resources, including awards for their particular group. Next slide. And then lastly, the third program that we offer at TMP is our career mentoring program. So in this program, we match students with a professional in their field of interest outside of Ryerson as well as within Ryerson who can help the student with their transition from university to the workforce. So with that said, this group is only available for third-year plus students. In this program, students also get support from the career mentoring assistant at TMP, as well as additional support from our mentoring facilitators. We also host networking events and personal development sessions. And once again, students also have access to an online community portal where they're able to network with over 300 plus industry professionals. And students are also able to get support from mentees and mentors through our discussion board and messaging tool. And students also have access to resources which include mentoring guides or mentoring training. Next slide, please. All right, so now I just wanted to share some quotes from first-year students or mentees that have expressed the importance of having a mentor or how our program has benefited them. So one student mentions that as a new undergraduate, I was very flustered with balancing priorities. My mentor helped me realize that that's normal by sharing his own experience. Next slide. So another student mentions that through the Try Mentoring program, I was able to find Muslim women group mentoring, and it led to new friendships and made me feel like I belonged in the Ryerson community. Next slide, please. Thirdly, another student mentions that I learned that it is okay to ask questions and to reach out when in need of help. It is okay to not know everything. Next slide. And then lastly, a mentee has mentioned that having a mentor has been very important because I felt that I was not alone in this new country. I felt that I could fit in and make my life here. I felt less afraid. Next slide, please. All right, so the TMP community portal. So as I mentioned earlier, the students in all our 3 programs have access to an online community through the TMP community portal. So the TMP community portal is a website where we manage all mentoring relationships, and it has many groups based on program, faculty, and equity-seeking groups as well that you're able to join. You can also chat with first and upper year students, with the student staff, the full-time staff, as well as industry professionals within Ryerson and outside of Ryerson. And yeah, next slide, please. And thank you. So that's all that concludes from TMP. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach us at Twitter, Instagram, or our Facebook accounts.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for sharing that information and some really great stories from some current students as well. So I'd like to turn things over now to our student life and campus engagement, and a quick reminder to throw questions in the chat if you happen to have any from the conversations we're having right now. Go ahead, student life as well.
So hi everyone, my name is Esther. I'm the transition assistant for health and wellness. So I'm going to talk a little bit about orientation and events at Ryerson. So this is actually the first year orientation was held online, and we kind of held our hand on the pulse of COVID-19. And even with things going on, we still have events going on in the fall and winter term. So we approximately had 100 events during orientation and online orientation. So we had Get Ready Ryerson, which students are able to have pre-orientation focused activities and events. So we also had community study, writing, and math transition. So it was the first time learning support was actually part of orientation, and a lot of students were able to kind of have that support before school started. And then we also had main events like body positivity fashion show to encourage inclusivity and body image. We also had our first kickoff where we had a floss challenge. So every year we try to attempt a new world record. So the next slide, we'll talk about campus engagement and the campus events that we have. So for the first 6 weeks of programming, there's also different events going on. So student initiative, student action series, and interfaith. So we have different events going on during the fall and winter term for those events. So we have faith talks and stuff like that. And then the campus events, we also have expression art festivals, culture fest, winter carnival. Most of the time, we just want to bring students together and have that community building experience. So if you have any more questions about orientation and campus events, you can always reach out to Stefan. His email's in this slide right here. You can also visit our website to learn a bit more about orientation and campus events. I'm going to start talking a little bit about student initiative funds that I mentioned before. So student initiative funds is a grant funding standing committee that reports to student services and advisory committee. This is on behalf of Ryerson University for the potential for Ryerson students to start their initiatives. So engage in meaningful dialogue, student-to-student contributions, and contribute to the Ryerson culture. So student groups and individuals are able to submit and then pitch their idea, and based on their merits, they're able to get a percentage or the full funding that they request for. So it's open to all undergraduate, graduate, and continuing education students with great ideas. And we hope with that, it reflects diversity and creativity and the spirit for seed money for students to lead nonprofit initiatives and engage students programming for a priority for new initiatives. So on the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about funding. So there's a little difference between a new initiative and established initiatives. So new initiatives, they're able to have up to $5,000 just because they're starting out. And then established initiatives are able to apply up to $2,500. There's also a timeline for students to apply. So they can actually apply in the fall and winter term. So there's an application process within a certain time period. And then during the pitch weekend, there'll actually be time slots. So it won't be all 3 days. So it'll be within that time period, and you'll pitch to a committee and they'll see if your initiative fits within the application. So there's actually a funding criteria. So the committee will actually mark the initiative or the idea the committee or the group has. So there's 5 objectives: student engagement, diversity, inclusivity, and inclusion, initiative. And also that's the initiative to take to have the innovation, creativity, and stuff like that to kind of encourage community engagement and enhance the reputation of Ryerson. So if you have any more questions, you could email sif@ryerson.ca, or there's also the website you could go on to apply for SIF. And then lastly, I'll be talking about RU Leadership. So RU Leadership actually offers a wide range of workshops, events, and learning opportunities for students to learn about different aspects of leadership. So RU Leadership has experiences on campus in communities to kind of educate and inform programs to focus evolving leadership. So we actually have 6 pillars, so students can learn different pillars through different workshops and events we have. So there's personal leadership. So students are able to recognize the power that they hold and influence the people around them. There's communication. So this pillar emphasizes on the importance of effective communication and informing, inspiring, and influencing others. There's also self-awareness and development. So kind of understanding the engagement and authenticity and the productivity. And then there's also responsibility. So about participating and maintenance and thriving in the community as a response from personal engagement. And then there's equity, diversity, and inclusion, so EDI. So cultivating a welcoming environment and the efforts to encourage shared goals and aspirations. There's also teamwork and collaboration. So we provide opportunities for students to kind of improve their teamwork skills and collaboration skills while they're having fun. So RU Leadership, we actually have a lot more different events that we have. So we have a conference that's held every single year. So the Student Leadership Conference actually held on November 21st this year. So we have different speakers coming in to kind of teach leadership in the way that it's kind of like hands-on workshops where you can follow along and stuff like that. So it's not just kind of sitting in class and learning about something, but actually can act on what you learn in the conference. And then there's also different programs as like volunteer links in case you want to volunteer on campus. There's also the peer coaching program. So people will be paired up and there'll be groups just to have someone coach and kind of learn and take that new leadership skills and kind of use that forward and know how to set goals and objectives. There's also the co-curricular report, just to kind of like keep track of everything and your progress. There's also therapy dogs. So you can get to, there's therapy dogs weekly and you get to see dogs online. So that's RU Leadership. And if you have any questions, you can also email leadership@ryerson.ca. And there's also more information on the website. And everything that I just spoke about on Ryerson is located on Pod 60. So just to give you a feel of where it would be when everything goes back in person.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Esther, for giving us an overview of all things with student life. So that's awesome. Next up, we have Samantha from Ryerson Career and Co Center. So I encourage you to take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha, and I am the lead campus engagement ambassador at the Ryerson Career and Co Center. I've been working here as student staff for 3 years now, and I'm in my 4th year of study. So I'll be talking to you about some of the services and the programming that we offer to students. And just as a disclaimer, if I call it the RCCC, that's sort of our acronym that we call it. So if I use that acronym, that's what I'm referring to. Next slide, please. So at the Ryerson Career and Co-op Center, our mission is to build careers for life and to empower Ryerson students to maximize their potential as skilled professionals. So really, it's a part of our mandate that we want students to be able to develop the tools that they need to be able to navigate their professional career. And we recognize that in the 21st century, many students and professionals will have multiple careers during their lifetime. So it's essential that you have the tools to be able to navigate more than one career during your lifetime. And so we do these through workshops and meeting with employers, different things like that, that I'll be talking about a bit more. But really, if you're interested in applying for a part-time job during your studies, thinking about applying for co-op, want to make a good impression on professionals in your industry you may encounter during your time at Ryerson, or thinking about your career path, we can help with all of these different things. Next slide, please. So now I'm just going to provide a brief overview about the different services and programming that we offer. All of these are available through your tuition. You pay for it, so all of our services are free. So some of the things that we offer workshops. So typically if we were on campus, they would be in person, but we've shifted it to be online due to the pandemic. So these are offered live if you want to ask any questions about the things that are being talked about, but they're also recorded and uploaded online so that you can access it at any time. If you want to go back and look at another one or see one that you missed, you can go and check that out. We also offer a number of events, and on the next slide, I'll be talking about some of the events that we've hosted in the past, so you can get a sense of what the different ones. Sorry, if you could just go back. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, and so these are meeting with employers, so you can network, you can meet employers that you're interested in working with, all sorts of things like that. We also offer one-to-one appointments. So we offer a variety of different appointments for undergraduate and graduate students. You can meet with your career education specialist for your faculty if you have faculty-specific questions. If you're interested in learning more about how to improve your resume, cover letter, CV, LinkedIn profile, anything like that, you can meet with one of our student staff who will, again, give you the skills and tools to be able to improve the way that you talk about your work experiences in these types of ways. We also host the Career Boost program, which is Ryerson's on-campus student employment source. So the job that I'm in talking to you today is a Career Boost job. So you can work part-time during the school year or full-time during the summer to improve your work experience and get things to put on your resume while you're in school. We also offer a number of EDI initiatives. So EDI stands for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. We offer a number of different programs that are targeted specifically for students who identify from an equity-seeking group. So specific events such as Voices of Experience. We have professionals who also identify from an equity-seeking group come and talk to students about what it's been like for them navigating the workplace. We also typically offer a specific EDI breakfast before our career fairs so that students from an equity-seeking group have an opportunity to meet more one-to-one with the employers that will be at the career fair. Also this year, we launched an online career resource hub. It's in the same place where you find all your courses at Ryerson. So it's a really easy and convenient way to access all the sorts of resume and cover letter templates, all sorts of different advice that we offer conveniently in one place. And then we also offer faculty-specific programming. So like I mentioned, there's a career education specialist dedicated to your faculty who you can meet with one-on-one at any time. They also typically come into classes as well and do workshops with you in class. And I'll be talking a bit about that later. So next slide, please. So these are examples of some of the events that we've hosted just this year alone. We did an event with Spotify Design and how to get a job there, which is awesome. We also did an event with Michael Kors, some events about social justice careers, as well as we've already had one of our major career fairs this year, and it was hosted all online. Actually, all of these events were hosted online, but we had our STEM career fair in September, and we had tons of employers and lots of students attend, so it worked really well in an online format. Next slide. So like I mentioned, we have dedicated career support in your faculty. These are professionals that know your faculty inside and out and know the sorts of career and professional development issues and things that people need to know about in your faculty so that you can get their support. So like I said, they often come into your classes. We know that students are busy and you might not have the time to dedicate outside of class. So they'll work with professors to organize some time to come into your class and talk about how to improve your LinkedIn profile, different things like that. We also do on-campus jobs, so you can often work for your specific faculty that you're in as well and get a job either through the dean's office, through programs, things like that, so that you can increase your work experience. And next slide. So like I mentioned before, Career Boost is Ryerson's student employment source. You can work on campus part-time for 10 to 15 hours a week during the school year and full-time, so 35 hours a week during the summer. And due to COVID, many of these jobs have been shifted online. So like I work during the summer and during the school year, and it's been totally online. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. There's over 1,000 positions that are available every year. And so these are a couple examples of some of the job titles that have been available in the past, such as peer facilitator, research intern, social media assistant, or community events lead. So there's a lot of variety of jobs as well, depending on what you're interested in. And it helps you develop the skills that are really good transferable skills to put on your resume, such as communication, collaboration, leadership, community engagement, and problem solving. And all of these jobs start at minimum wage, although many jobs do offer a higher wage as well, which is great. Next slide. And so certain programs have a co-op that's either mandatory or optional for their program, and we administer some of these programs. Between this slide and the next slide, I'll be distinguishing which ones are run by our center and which ones are run within their faculty. So some of the ones that are administered by us are all of the Faculty of Science co-op programs. There's some new arts co-op programs that are starting next fall. So these are English, history, politics and governance, and sociology. Architectural science in the Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science, chemical engineering, occupational health and safety, and public health and safety. And so we have professional staff that are dedicated to supporting the co-op programs in these specific programs. So you can meet with them and ask them questions. They will guide you along the way, so you're not alone when you're applying for jobs and all sorts of things like that. They'll make sure that you're prepared to apply for co-op and have a successful co-op work term. Next slide, please. So there's plenty of other career integrated learning opportunities at Ryerson. These are just some of the ones that aren't run by our center specifically, but they're great ways to build your work experience and get that hands-on career learning experience. So Ted Rogers School of Management has a co-op that's run through that faculty. There's also specific fees, the Faculty of Engineering and Architectural Science co-op programs that aren't specifically run through our center, but they're run by the faculty and they're listed there. And also plenty of other faculties that weren't mentioned here have experiential learning opportunities, such as internships, co-ops, and those would be run specifically by those faculties. Next slide. And so, like I mentioned, we have dedicated staff at the Career and Co-op Center that are here to help guide you through your co-op journey. So you're not alone. They'll help prepare you for applying for co-op jobs by understanding where the jobs are, things like that, how to create targeted resumes and cover letters and prepare you for interviews so they can do mock interviews with you. There's also exclusive co-op opportunities through the co-op portal. So they work with employers to find jobs and bring them specifically to Ryerson students. So you would be the only one that is basically has that opportunity, and also help you leverage your technical and professional skills. So determine what skills you already have, maybe from previous jobs or from school, that can help you in securing your co-op jobs, and as well just coaching and supporting you while you're on your work terms. So doing regular check-ins and making sure that everything's going well and that you're having an enjoyable experience. Next slide. Yeah, so just to finish off, this is this is our contact information. So our website is ryerson.ca/career-co-op, and it has tons of information about all of the services and the programming that we offer. And we're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn if you want to follow us and find out about some of the programming and the events that we have going on. Thank you.
Awesome, and thank you so much, Samantha. I know that was about 40 to 45 minutes of lots of information for those of you who joined us. So thank you again for tuning in. And just on the point of Samantha's, when she was talking about co-ops and other things and experiential learning opportunities, I do encourage you to check out our program sessions that are coming up for the remainder of our 2 weeks. Off the top of my head, we have engineering tonight. We also have a lot of our arts programs that are coming up next week and a lot of different faculty programs. So please feel free to check out that website and find out a little bit more about those co-ops as well as about the experiential opportunities. So at this time, what's going to happen is we have about 12 minutes left on the hour. So we are going to open things up for some Q&A options. Our Q&A pod has been pretty quiet. So I do encourage you, for those of you who are here with us, to ask some questions that you might have. I know for myself, when I was thinking about universities at your age and when I was going into the time where I had to choose, there's a lot of things that you have to think about. You can clearly see from our student affairs office, we are here to help you with transitional support, but we're also here to help you all the way through your undergraduate degree too. So for the first question that I have offhand here, and I encourage everyone who joined us today who we're presenting to jump in and answer. This is kind of a fun live Q&A portion here, but most of you who joined us today who presented are students of our university. So I'm curious to know, for anyone who is a student who was a presenter today, What made you get involved? Were you nervous about it? Were you a part of any of the programs that you are now representing here when you're presenting? And what is some of your personal experiences? I know we've heard a lot about what we offer our students, but what did we offer you as a student as well? And feel free to jump in if you overlap on voices, someone else just jump in.
I could talk a little bit about my experience. I think I used pretty much every single one of these experiences myself. I am a first generation university student. So when I first came into school, I was kind of nervous and didn't know what to do. I also lived on residence, well, off-campus residence. So I didn't have that community to begin with. So I started going to the tri-mentoring program, going to different events, joining different clubs. I eventually started to find who like I wanted to hang out with, like who I kind of go for help and stuff like that. I feel like for the tri-mentoring program, it really helped me to find a mentor because that way you can ask questions, know which profs you should kind of focus more on, some profs that you need to study in a certain way. That way you can kind of have the insight that nothing is really posted online. So you actually get that upper year student teaching you how to kind of go about things. And then applying for my other jobs, Career and Co-op Center helped me with resume, cover letter writing. I feel like I could go on forever about like all these different things I've used, but there's also like, there's different services to use, but I feel like building those connections with people, having that support that you never really thought about before. I went to learning support and then met a friend kind of thing. So it's not like something you kind of went in for, but then you kind of left with something else. So I think that's my kind of take on the events or the things I went to at Ryerson. But yeah.
Awesome. Does anyone else want to weigh in? I'll give you a few seconds.
Yeah, I'll go. So I'm in my third year of Ryerson at the moment, and for the last 3 years, I've been part of the tri-mentoring program. I entered in the peer-to-peer mentoring program, and that's essentially how I found out about it. And then I liked it so much that I wanted to look more into it, and which is how I ended up here today. And I've also joined the peer note-taking program at Ryerson, which is very helpful. I've taken notes from other students. I've also provided notes to other students. So it definitely helped me in a lot of my classes.
Yeah, I know our audience can't see all of us at the same time, but I have the ability to, and I saw a lot of head nods with the note-taking. Does anyone else want to weigh in on how beneficial the note-taking is and how you can be a part of it? Anything like that?
Yeah, I was a note taker, I think last year and the year before, just because I'm in the social work program and I'm in faculty of community services. So we get lots of emails about things, just ways to support other students because we're that faculty who really loves to do that. So I was a note taker, so it was for the classes I was specifically in. I know that some note takers can go to other classes and sit in and write the notes or take the notes for the student. You upload the notes for the student, and then they can provide feedback on whether they need like more information or if they need it to be done in a different way. And if you are a note taker, you do get paid for it at the end. You do have to be consistent though and make sure that you attend class and give the notes because there is somebody who's depending on you. But it's a really great service, especially I know that there are some students who needed an accommodation or they can't either write or type fast enough because some teachers just go on and on and on and don't stop. But I found it was a great way to encourage me to attend class as a note taker because sometimes, it's a Monday morning class and you don't really want to go, but if someone's depending on you, then you're more likely to drag yourself out of bed and go to class, if not for yourself, then for them.
We did have a question on this. Do students need to pay for these notes? Does anyone know offhand?
I think the notes are only available to students with accommodation.
You just have to sign up for it, but you don't have to pay to get the notes.
Awesome. So that's a great note. I know that we do. Pardon?
Sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was like, you get paid to write the notes, but then if you have accommodation, you get the notes for free.
Awesome. On that note, I know that we do have a accommodation support presentation that I think is happening soon, and I will keep my eye on my chat to see if I'm wrong here. But if it has already happened, it will be available on our website afterwards for anyone who does have questions about academic accommodation support. There's many different things that they support our students with, and like we're hearing here as well, it's including things like note taking, and so there's many different ways. It's actually coming up next. So it's coming up on this next hour, I think, so at 3 o'clock. And so if you are interested in that, I encourage you to check out our website. If you want to get the link to it, ask us in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we'll send that link over to you as well too. So I know that there's about 6 minutes left on this session. So I'm going to kind of do one last question here for our people who have been presenting. I know, like I've mentioned already, choosing a university is very overwhelming. There's a lot of things to keep in mind. There's a lot of supports that are available, which is amazing. But do you have any advice to some of these students who are going into first year this next year, or thinking about universities? What are different ways that they can kind of get involved on campus on top of other things like this? Like, do you have any advice about like trying to make friends and lots of things like that? Anything you want to throw in here as a last minute advice towards these students?
I can jump in. I actually became involved with something at Ryerson before I even came to Ryerson. I have played competitive softball for a lot of my life, and I found out that Ryerson had a fast pitch team, and so I reached out to them, and probably December before the year that I would have been coming into university, I'd talked to the coach, and they were pretty new, so he was like open to having me on the team, and automatically I already got a group of like 13 other university students, and a lot of them were upper year students. So like right away I came into university and kind of had like a support group, and I could talk to them about things that I was nervous about and things like that. And then from there, I think I just got introduced into other things like through my program and things like that. But I think that was a pretty easy way for me to start because I already knew softball. So at least that wasn't new. And then I got to meet all these new people. So it's kind of like almost like a spider web. You start with one like contact point, and then you'll get introduced to all these other things just by that one thing. So I'd say just like pick one thing that maybe feels like a low stakes kind of thing to get involved with, and then you'll get introduced to all these different things just by people being like, oh, have you heard of this or this, things like that.
Maybe because I worked at Ryerson for orientation, I'm kind of like really keen on the orientation aspect. I remember I met my best friend in my program the very first day I went to orientation, and we're still best friends now, and I'm in 3rd year. So I think that's why I keep on pushing orientation. But I feel like because everyone's trying to get to know each other going into like Ryerson, going online and meeting them, I feel like it's so much simpler. I met them on Facebook, and then we were talking, and then we met in person. We'd be like, oh my God, we're in the same course. We're in like the same orientation. And then it kind of just like builds up and having that commonality and like, oh, I have this with you, I have that with you. And then when you don't know anyone, you kind of just cling on to that one friend, and then you kind of expand, and then you realize who you like hanging out with. And then you kind of find what your community is and who you kind of want to hang out with. And like, even like with school, you kind of know like who you want to be friends with, how it helps you, and kind of thing like that. I feel like as long as you're out there and you're trying to meet people, you can always meet the people you like. And then the rest is just kind of messaging on Facebook. And there's always like accepted Ryerson 2022 or 2023, stuff like that, where people are just as anxious as you are. And then everyone's messaging, and you kind of feel connected in that way and be like, oh, I don't know if this thing's due. So I feel like having that outgoingness and like willing to be able to talk to other people, it goes a long way.
Yeah, I'd say everybody's in the same boat as you. That's like a huge thing, is you think that you're kind of alone when you come to university. I was the only person from my high school or my hometown that came to Ryerson, so I was like completely alone. Like in the first couple of weeks, everybody's in the same boat. There's like a very small chance that they know somebody else in their class, unless they like have somebody from their high school they wanted to go to the same program. I know it's different from online, but just like introducing yourself, definitely right now going to events is probably the best way. Like Esther said, like go to the orientation events, have a chance to like turn on your camera, talk a little bit, talk in the chat if you're on Zoom. I know on some of the ISS events, people exchange like their Instagram account so that they can follow each other and send messages back and forth and things like that. So I know that just saying hi is probably the best way to make friends, because everybody's in the same boat. They don't know anybody, and they're eager to meet some new people at university.
Thanks so much for all of that. That is a great point. That's what orientation is for, and that is what all of the events are for, and all of the teams and the clubs that you can be a part of. So yeah, knowing that everyone is in the same boat is always comforting, especially for even someone like me who I've never been a very outgoing person. So going online and turning on your camera is like that first step to kind of getting out of that comfort zone. But knowing that everyone's in the same area is always very comforting too. So that takes us to the end of the session. So thank you so much for those of you who stayed on and joined us. I hope that you all enjoyed everything and you learned a little bit about student affairs at Ryerson and how we can support you. So what's going to happen now is we are going to turn off our videos and our cameras and our audio, and we will stay on for about a minute in case there's any last second questions that you have. Feel free to throw that in the Q&A pod. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. And on behalf of Ryerson University, we'd like to thank you for joining us as always. And of course, we hope that you and your family and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. Have a great evening.